literary legends and luminaries. I'm Julie and welcome to another episode of Booksmart. I hope you're not sad today because this week's book is called So Sad Today, Personal Essays by Melissa Broder. The back of the book sounded funny with profound topics mixed with lighter ones, kind of a mixed bag of essays with subjects that appealed to me. And I thought in the end it would be one of those books that may be tragic, but a feel-good tragic. I adore tragic stories comparable to Shakespeare, but they must have a theme that gives you something positive out of all that tragedy. I can handle sad, but depressing not so much. So to lighten the mood, I wore my Barbie sweatshirt for this episode because it's bright and pink and, well, it's Barbie. If only there was a cat on it. So where do I start with the mess of So Sad Today, which turned out to be good at the end? The first few essays felt like 90s Madonna. I talked about 90s Madonna when I reviewed Three Women by Lisa Taddeo. So Sad Today is gratuitous smut, essentially, at least at the beginning. I don't know if Broder was just trying to shock her reader, but there felt to be little purpose in the details. I even began questioning the entirety of the essays. She meets guys on Craigslist, supplies plenty of X-rated details, and then throws in, oh, by the way, I'm married, after the fact. And the essays were depressing, not the least bit funny. I can find humor in lots of things, even the morbid and depressing, but none of this was funny. I don't think I even snickered once. I reread the back of the book thinking I thought this book was something that it wasn't. Then I read what author Roxane Gay wrote about So Sad Today, which is right here on the front cover. These essays are sad and uncomfortable and their own kind of gorgeous. They reveal so much about what it is to live in this world right now. First of all, I read Roxane Gay's memoir, Hunger. I liked it, but now I'm horribly depressed. This is what the majority of people are like right now. Granted, the book was written in 2016, but still. Broder's on prescriptions for anxiety and depression. Based on this book, she'd have better results with a placebo. She questions why bother with anything? What's the point of existing? She's constantly on her phone and has a wide range of issues. Well, don't we all? That's partly why I picked up this book. I've had panic attacks since I was born. I have food issues. I overthink everything. Yet about a third of the way through the book, I am now becoming depressed. Broder doesn't fully develop any of these subjects significantly, except, of course, the sex and needing to fill all her holes. I stopped reading the book to research Broder. I normally don't give two hoots about who the author is. If I like the book or want to find out more info, I'll research the author a bit, but that's usually after I finish the book. I never buy books just because an author is popular or has some sort of following or whatever. I figured Broder was at least a millennial, if not younger, since her writing reads as though she grew up on social media. Imagine my shock when I find out she's Gen X, just like me, and is only 2 years younger than I am. Now I'm really depressed. Let me just read you an example because maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe I am just completely overreacting. But parents, if your kid is eating herself, you have to let her. Let your child devour herself whole. Even if she disappears completely, encourage her to vanish. Let your child eat the shit out of herself and then shit herself out. Let her eat that. There aren't that many ways to find comfort in this world. We must take it where we can get it, even in the darkest, most disgusting places. Nobody asked to be born. No one signs a form that says, you have my permission to make me exist. Babies are born because parents feel that they themselves are not enough. So parents, never condemn us for trying to fill our existential holes when we are but the fruit of your own vain attempts to fill yours. It's your fault we're here to deal with the void in the first place. Now, if this was just one passage in the book or one essay, it would make you ponder perhaps. But this is her attitude throughout most of the essays. But I stick with the book. She does ask some profound questions, if you can dig through the mess to find them. The reason I thought she was younger is because some of her ramblings and musings sounds like something Angela Chase would say for My So-Called Life. Let me read you this. And I adored My So-Called Life. Absolutely adored it. Okay. Then I said goodbye again. He got back in touch. Then I said goodbye for good. What happens to the space that two people occupied together? How can it just disappear? Why can't it just become something else? What I maybe miss most is being able to lapse into Spaceland and fantasize about the sex with him. But it is no longer safe for me to do that. The fantasy is no longer safe. It is Death Valley. Reality killed it. I also miss the many months of uncertainty of not knowing whether we could be. The nebulousness. Now I know we could not. like Angela Chase and Jordan Catalano. And here's what Angela thinks about it.
There's something about Sunday night that really makes you want to kill yourself, especially if you've just been totally made a fool of by the only person you'll ever love. The thought that I might be seeing Jordan Catalano in a few hours was like impossible to comprehend. Like when they first tell you about infinity.
You see my confusion? I was Angela Chase back in my day. Those were the kinds of things I thought and wrote and said. But I've graduated past some of that in my advanced age. Believe me, I still think way too much and overanalyze everything, but it's grown, matured, and I'd like to think I now have some partial answers to my own Angela musings so long ago. But perhaps I'm being too harsh on Broder. She wrote this 8 years ago and is 2 years younger than me. I acted like a fool around my 40th birthday, so perhaps I shouldn't be throwing stones. Here's my problem. I want Broder to get real about stuff, not give me teenage angsty thoughts without development. I want her to tackle her food issues and relationships and anxiety and get to the bottom of them, to be authentic about them, not toss them off with self-deprecating comments that I guess are supposed to be funny or somehow representative of society. Then on page 72, I realize why I'm irritated. This is from an essay entitled, I Took the Internet Addiction Quiz and I Won. And she writes, how are my feelings not going to kill me? The internet is going to save me from my feelings. But what is going to save me from the internet? I'm a dopamine's girl. I am a puppy for attention from imaginary people. I am lonely among real human beings and would rather be on my phone than engage with reality. The internet has given me the dopamine, attention, amplification, connection, and escape I seek. It has also distracted me, disappointed me, paralyzed me, and catalyzed a false sense of self. The internet has enhanced my taste for isolation. It has increased my so-called-ism and made me even more incapable of coping with reality. Reality was never my first choice. I like that I can be somebody else on the internet. That is where Broder has lost me. I know I'm in the minority here, that this is in fact how a majority of the population now lives, on the internet, on their phones, through social media. I'm with Michael Cera. If I didn't worry about something dreadful happening while I'm out and about, I wouldn't even bother having a smartphone and would go back to the good old days of landlines. Broder's book was born from her Twitter, which is now X, that she started called So Sad Today. Booksmart is the only reason I'm on social media, and I have to tell you, I never check it. I only check YouTube, but even then, only if my email alerts me that someone has commented. I have never had a Facebook page. A boomer probably uses their smartphone more than I do. I probably use my phone collectively 3 hours a week, if that. I research a lot on the internet on my laptop, but I take what I find with a grain of salt, especially since AI. I'm never on social media. I realize people essentially live their lives through the internet and social media in particular, but I also think that's why everyone is so miserable. I saw news clips of Mark Zuckerberg apologizing for the harm social media has done to children. I'm just shocked people are now just realizing this. I knew it was a problem, not just for children, but for everyone when the thing to do was to take pictures of your food and then other people would spend the time commenting on those pictures. I never understood that one. Then I knew we were completely doomed with the whole Tide Pod challenge. And don't people understand that if you follow a Twitter account that is called So Sad Today, you're going to get fed more and more of the same? The internet makes us sicker. Delightful kitties and We Are the World info doesn't pop up when I've written about such things. No, it's signs of ovarian cancer and a deadly fungus that is spreading. I try not to click on such articles, but it doesn't matter if I don't anymore. The internet is still going to plug those on my account because it's not here to spread sunshine and joy. I want to tell Broder to stay off the internet, but the internet is how she became a published author, so I'll just keep my mouth shut. My apologies for such a tangent. When So Sad Today started, I'm sure there was a place for it, but now I don't think there is such a thing as a freak or a misfit. Everything is on the internet, and no one is ever the only one who feels that way or likes something, etc. Now I just think the internet is breeding us to be miserable and sad and mean. I'm mostly upset by Gay's comment on the front of the book, which now even makes me more critical about Broder's essay just because of her comment. This is not what I want the world to be like, and if it is, I want no part of it. Maybe that's why I'm not impressed with So Sad Today. No way is it going to suck me into its saddening vortex, and I'm finding flaws with all her perceptions. For instance, one chapter is titled, "One Text is Too Many and 1,000 Are Never Enough." Yes, people by nature are never happy no matter what. We are dichotomous, wanting both existences at once. But aren't some of these problems of our own making? Isn't some of our sadness a result of what we create? I'm not talking about clinical depression or anxiety. I'm saying we can either go outside and watch bunnies and squirrels frolic in our yards that's decorated with fountains and flowers, or we can stare at a screen and read and watch all about other people's misery or their pretentious sense of happiness. Does that really make us feel better? Following others who are sad and depressed and bleak, or those who brag about plastic surgery, exotic vacations, or hordes of materialistic things. There's a big wide world beyond the internet. Surround yourself with beautiful things that make you happy. Look at all of my pink that I have here. You should see the rest of my house. Everywhere I have something that will make me smile. Sorry for tangent number 2. And I do realize the paradox of my whole argument, considering I'm creating videos for YouTube for my bigger purpose of publishing a book. But I do understand Broder's need to exist, to post online a sense of herself. And I congratulate her for doing so, especially when she did find a following. I started a blog connected to Booksmart where I post weekly personal essays. I've never done that before, and I thought I would attempt at bearing my soul even if nobody reads it. It's still out there as opposed to sitting protected on my computer for no one to ever read. So I stick with Broder's book even though I don't find it insightful or funny. It does get better though. Broder writes about her husband who is very ill. That's why she has an open marriage. Perhaps she should have started with that, and it should have been one of her first essays, as it would have provided context to her serial dating and the guy she obsessed over. It's almost as if Broder wants us to judge her and criticize her. And then she writes something very real as it relates to her anxiety. Recently, a woman said she likes my writing because I'm not a whiny cunt. I think what she means is that she likes my funny mask. But now the panic attacks are stripping me of my ability to not be a whiny cunt. I want to be in control of my whiny cunt levels. If I'm going to alienate you, I want to curate that alienation. I want to craft the persona that turns you off. I don't want the real me, my vulnerabilities and humanity to leak out and make you run. I don't want to have needs. Like, what if you found out I'm really not okay? What if you knew that I am suffering a lot right now and really scared? Would you flee? I don't want to find out, so I deflect my vulnerability into humor or wise platitudes. Why didn't she do more of that? Why didn't she do that from the start? The book was a quick read. I read it in just a couple of days, but I don't know if the totality of the book is worth it. There's a whole chapter on vomit and sex, like combined as in fetish. I don't even have words for that one. Just so much of the book doesn't seem authentic. And I question the editing. It's like this is a first draft that was quickly written and then just rushed off to the publisher. It's repetitive at times, undeveloped, and sounds like a diary of a teenage girl. Within that, there are some profound passages, no question about it. But more of the book should have been written that way. Even a chapter on her addiction, she gets cagey about. She won't tell you what group she joined that saved her, but you can email her and she'll tell you. I'm guessing it's AA, but I really just don't care. There's just so much stuff like that in this book that is irritating. So I don't know if I would recommend So Sad Today. If you are truly sad today, do not read this book because it's only going to send you deeper down that rabbit hole of depression and bleakness. If you want a good laugh, well, don't read this book. Watch Airplane if you want to giggle, or the Saturday Night Live sketches of Debbie Downer. If you want to dive deeper into heavier subjects like food disorders and anxiety, well, this book barely scratches the surface. If you don't want to be sad today, try watching cat videos, but don't do so for too long or else you'll just waste a whole bunch of time and then you'll be sad because you didn't accomplish anything. The internet is tricky like that. Maybe it's just best to sit outside without your phone for 30 minutes and realize that life exists beyond the internet. Because I think that is what Broder is getting at. Our existence and what it means when we're here and when we're gone. Her last 2 sentences of the book are the best ones. And it's a perfect way to end. All I want from you is to be liked. Of course, that is a scared woman's way of saying what I really want, which is to connect with you on a deep and true level while I am still on this earth, and maybe even after I am off it. Thanks for watching. As always, my goal at Booksmart is to get a little bit smarter, one book at a time.